Alright, so first and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashemi, Oshai, Ba'ashemi Kakadash. We say double and say apostle and elder to great most in a rule, but our teachers, our apostles in the truth, and we see salutations, so the accuracy, so the pursuit, and truth and sincerity, day in and day out, and constantly in season, or the season, we see Shalom. Once again, good entire video here, and touching upon standing firm, right? Now, you know what has come from? I was in a video yesterday talking about the RFID chip, talking about, I was showing one or two clips, even one or two things that was said that how they want to implement the RFID chip, they want to implement the digital ID, right? You know what? I'm gonna play one of the clips here because it actually that clip stem this video, right?
This will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID that will modernize how citizens interact with public services. My ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID that will modernize how citizens interact with public services.
Right, so that, as I said, that is a video that basically stemmed this video, and from doing a video on it yesterday, one of the things that I mentioned was standing firm. But he used a word in this clip, right, that he said modernize. Now, when you look up the meaning of the word modernize, right, and I'll put you back on the screen just now. Right, put you back on the screen just now, right here. Modernize. It says to modernize means updating outdated methods, systems, or styles to align with current standards. This applies across several common areas depending on your goals, right? So it's getting rid of outdated methods, right? Systems or styles to align with current standards. So we know that they're talking about what the digital ID, how you buy, how you sell, right? How you interact with public services. As he said that they would do what? Playing it back again.
My ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID that will modernize how citizens interact.
So how citizens interact with public services, right? So they go to show that in order to use what they're doing, you would have to do what? You would have to become modernized and basically upgrade to the system that they're implementing, or the thing that they're implementing to use these public services. Now, I'd like to bring the scripture here. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13. It says, watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men and be strong. And that's how it's supposed to be. Continually watching, because again, we in that time, as a blink, something can happen. Something, could break out. As a matter of fact, as you blink, there is something on news, right? Something on the news. If it takes too long to actually watch, and as the scriptures mentioned, to be occupied in prophecies, and if you're not occupied, and let me just say you go one day, you take one day out of the week and you actually watch what's going on, it will be too much for you to even comprehend, because there's so much of things happening right now, especially when it comes to what we consider like major prophecies. And one of those major prophecies, what is the RFID chip, the mark of the beast, the MOTV, right? And you seen a clip where he's saying that that his ministers, they would introduce this thing to modernize it, so citizens will be able to access public services. So it goes to show, if you don't have, right, or you're not going to take or not going to agree with what it is they are doing, you will be left out. And we know you would have to take that mark, right? See, to modernize means updating outdated methods, systems, or styles to align with current standards. So basically, the standard that it have right now is outdated, and they're going to bring the new modernized standard, which is goes into what a digital ID, which they would want that chip inside of you, right? But let me just, I had a better meaning yesterday when I was doing the video. Modernize, right? So this one says to modernize is to bring something up to date by adopting contemporary methods, styles or technologies or technology, and he's talking about what? The digital ID, right? So you see all certain words that have certain meanings, right? So it's, as I say, they stand firm, because we know, and the other piece of the video, he talk about so that citizens could use public services. But we know we're not going to take, the men of the Lord, they're not going to take that digital ID, that RFID chip, right? It say, watch ye, stand fast in the faith, quit you like men, and what? Be strong, and be strong. So we have to what? Stand firm, right? We don't want to be like those rest that would say, you know what, I need to be modernized. I need to Christians just say live by the law of the land and all these things, because they're going to take that ID, they're going to take that RFID chip, right? They're going to take that, right? So they will be able to use what, as he said, so that they will be able to use for public services. Now the scriptures mention that if you don't have the mark, you wouldn't be able to buy or sell, right? And you would need that mark to buy or sell, right? And we know a majority of these people are going to do that. They're going to take that, right? So, but for us, we have to do what? We have to stand firm. Let me just go to the book of Ephesians chapter 6, verse 13, right? Matter of fact, let me read from verse 10. It says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. And that's how it's supposed to be. Because, hey, when it comes to this thing, you got to understand, a lot of people, they just talk. They just, they lip. They are playing the lip service, right? They're not going on. A lot of people, they know what the MOTB is. You can just go on Twitter and type in digital ID or the MOTB, and you'll see thousands, millions, matter of fact, talk about the RFID being the mark of the beast, right? So a lot of people know that what it is, but would a lot of them not take it? No, a lot of them are going to take it because they would want to buy, sell, eat, go to the movies or whatever it may be. But for us, we say, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. And that is because we know our trust, our defense is in the Lord. Right? It say, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Yeah, against the trickeries, the things that the devil would bring. Right? So that's what we do. We have to put on our whole armor. Right? That ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the Lord. Standing firm. Stand against. Not with the devil, but stand against him. So it's going to be a fight. Because the scriptures mention the trials and the tribulations that we would face here, right? And this being one of it, not being modernized into this society, meaning that what you're not going to adopt these methods or these styles or these technologies that they're going to implement, right? It says it involves replacing outdated practices or equipment to improve efficiency. So, hey, that's a heavy word. Modernize is a heavy word. Because it's telling you it involves replacing outdated practices or equipment to improve efficiency, and that's how they would make it seem to you. Like how he's talking about his ministers is going to implement the ID, right? So that citizens would be able to use public services. His ministers, they would make it seem nice. They would make it seem like it's such a good thing to take, right? You know what? To use the train, to get a car, all you have to do is just swipe and go, swipe your hand and go, scan your head and go. You don't have no cash on you. Right, and we know the paper dollar is when you watch the market right now, it's on a downward spiral, right? So you could see where they would make this thing seem so good to take. So that way, say, put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. It say, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And we're in high places, because we know the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? And the wicked could only do but wickedly. They're not going to do anything good, even though they may make these teams see, they may make the MOTB seem like it's something so efficient to take. As I say, it's a equipment to improve efficiency. So they will make it seem so good to take, right? They will make it seem like it really for your health. Like I always bring up the commercial with the hospital. that said, if it take this chip, we would be able to track sorry, that we would be able to track your health, right? We'll be able to track your health. If you fall long home, we would know that you fall long. We would know that we would have to send out an alarm. The ambulance will come with the seat. So it songs like, as it say, equipment to improve efficiency. They would say this thing would become more efficient than your phone. Or if you had to press an alarm, they would say you need to press the alarm because now the alarm is inside of you, right? So it songs to be good. But that is what you will get from the wicked. That is what you will get from the wicked, right? And the wicked could only do what wickedly. The scriptures mention. It say at the end he shall declare his wickedness, right? And that is that's roughly paraphrased in the book of Sirach mentioned at Sirach 14. At the end you're gonna know what it is he was really, why he gave you this thing, right? It's not to help you, right? It say wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. Right? Having done what? All to stand. It says, stand therefore, having your loins girt about the truth, and having the breastplate of righteousness. So again, standing firm, and that is how we want to be. We don't want to be like these other people that, hey, they just go in and do what? Let me just get something here quick, right? Standing firm meaning, right? Right, so it says standing firm. It says to stand firm means to remain resolute, unwavering, and that is how you want to be, right? You want to constantly be standing firm in what the Lord, unwavering, not being tossed to and fro, right? That when these things come upon you, you start to say, well, you know what? Taking a chip seems like a good thing. You don't want to be like that. You always want to be that, hey, knowing you stand for the Lord and knowing that the Lord is our defense, right? That way it says, having done all that it should was stand, right? It says, and determining your decisions, beliefs, or opinions, especially when facing pressure, opposition, or difficult times, or difficult challenges, and that is what it is, right? Standing firm for who? For Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yoshai. That is what you want to do, right? Always standing firm. That scripture I wanted to bring here. Hebrews chapter 3 verse 6, it says, but Hamashiach as a son over his own house, whose house are we, right? Who house are we, right? Matter of fact, let me read from verse 1. It says, wherefore, holy brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, Yahushua Mashiach, who was faithful to him that appointed him, as also Moses was faithful in all his house. And that's going to be faithful down to the end. Because when it comes to that decision you're going to make, you don't want to be, as it say, you understand firm. It's that, here what, I don't want that chip. And we understand that the scriptures mention, you live for the Lord, and if you die, you die. You live unto the Lord, and if you die, you die unto the Lord. And that's what you want to be, always for the Lord. So that, as it say here, standing firm means to remain resolute, unwavering. You don't want to be wavering, right? So that we say, who was faithful to him that appointed him, as also Moses was faithful in all his house. And you want to be a faithful man unto the what? Unto the end. Right? It says, for this man was counted worthy of more glory than Moses, and as much as he who had built the house had more honor than the house. For every house is built by some man, but he that built all things is God. And Moses verily was faithful in all his house as a servant for a testimony of those things which were to be spoken after. And the word servant, hey, if a king, right, have a servant, that servant would be loyal unto him. You see it in the movies where a king will have servants and they will be loyal. They're not going and serve no other king. And that's how we are to be unto the Lord, right? And we will be called servants as well, right? And we serve unto to who? To the Lord. So we want to be loyal and be faithful, and we want to be standing firm, right? You know, certain words like that, it may look small, but it have a deep meaning behind it, right? It say, and Moses verily was faithful in all his house as a servant for a testimony of those things which were to be spoken after. But Mashiach as his son over his own house, whose house are we, if we hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of hope firm unto the end. Unto what? Unto the end. And that's how you always want to be, right? Well, whatever end it may be for you, that's how you want to be faithful unto the end. You want to stand firm unto the end, right? Hey, we understand they're using terms like modernize and all these things, and you know, and it will come a time where hey, you might have to leave your work because you work implementing this thing. Your family, they're taking it. You might have to, so the decisions might be that your own child might be the ones to take it and so forth. You might have to cut them off. When I say cut them off, you know what I mean, right? Like, you know what am I wrong here, right? And again, in that time, it go be so cool is that the scriptures mention your own family. They will be a man enemies is of his own household, right? When your family who not in this thing, they will take that chip, and they will be the ones to sell you out. Like he's the man who was teaching against it, you know. Man, you have to stand firm even in those times, right? Especially in those times, right? The First Peter chapter 5 and read from verse 8. It says, "Be sober, be vigilant." It says, "Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world." It says, "Who resist steadfast in the faith," right? So again, knowing how you're supposed to be in this thing, especially times that we're heading into. A man talking about just ministers going to implement the RFID. Bill Gates talking about everyone should be chipped soon. Elon Musk basically saying the same thing. You're hearing Trump talking about the UBIs. You're seeing the bank changing the system. You know, you're seeing organizations changing the system to implement this digital ID, you know, and going on that part of the MOTB. So we have to stand firm on what? Until the end. So with that, once again, I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kakodash. We say double and apostle and elders, a great Muslim, and Ruba, our teachers, our apostles in the truth. And we say salutations to the Akim, to push you with no truth and sincerity. Day in and day out, and constantly in season, or the season, we say, Shalom.